All right, so here's the next trending topic. I don't know if these topics is like trending, but here's the next
relevant
topic.
Yeah. What have you? Yeah.
Today's video.
There you go.
The video we're doing for today. Today's the video. Last time was a picture. This time it's a video.
Video.
So you get to watch it in real time. Get your feedback.
Okay, so y'all, story time. So y'all, please tell me if I'm wrong. So today this dude wrote me on Instagram and he was like, "Can I send you money? Let me send you money for lunch." So I was like, okay. I wrote him back and I was like, send it. So he wrote me and was like, okay, what's your Cash App? So I sent him the Cash App. Yeah, I just knew I was going to open my Cash App and I was going to have at least probably about $100. You get what I'm saying? Because like, I eat and that's how much I spend on my food. Yeah, I opened my Cash App and this man sent me $30. Yeah, yes, $30. And I'm just like, at first I'm like, damn, like, am I ungrateful? Like, am I fucked up? Like, the feeling like, why the fuck would you send me $30? But then I had to ask people, and they was like, nah, because I'm like, $30 is not even half a tank in my car. Like, what the fuck you thought I was going to go to Chick-fil-A? Like, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what did you think I was going to eat? It's like, when I go and eat, I eat full course meals. Like, I order a appetizer, a entree, and a dessert, and a drink. That can't even get me 2 drinks. Like, what the fuck? And then this man had the audacity to write me back and say, let me get to know you. Why the fuck do you think I'm gonna let you get to know me and you just send me $30 for lunch? Is you dumb? I mean, like, y'all be for real. Like, tell me, am I wrong? Like, am I fucked up? Like, is my head fucked up? Like, I don't even spend $30 on lunch on my, like, I spend over that on myself. So it's like, for someone to think they're gonna send me, I get that it's without the account, like, you didn't have to send the $30, but it's like, no, like, nigga, I'm not that type of, I'm not one of them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot to unpack there. But the general,
no, it's not. She's not one of them. She made it very clear.
Right, but I think the issues become like, I didn't know this was something that was happening, but apparently people are just putting their Cash Apps in their bios or their Venmo, and people are just sending them money. Like, they're not doing, like, it's not like, hey, I'm a creative person, join my Patreon. It's like, my Cash App is in my bio.
Hey,
and
you want to support me living?
Yes, me being alive. So for somebody to just receive $30 from somebody and be like, what do I look like, all that, the reason I showed that video is the questions become, are we responsible for creating people like this? Us as the collective audience. Are we responsible for this? Are we Dr. Frankenstein? And is this our monster? Because this is something that I feel like was created with social currency as far as like people like that. She's a very attractive woman. You know, she's well put together, all that. Obviously, she puts a lot of effort into that. And I think she takes that and she goes online and she gets a lot of praise and acclaim and love for that. And I mean, to first of all, to just do nothing and get somebody to give you $30 is already astounding. But then to be like, no, I spend more than that, 100. It's like, oh, gotcha, yeah. For her to be like, I spend 100 to eat. That's a person who's living on a different sphere. So what I'm saying is, you don't get there organically. No one, unless she was born rich, and if she was born rich, she wouldn't need people to give her money. So this is not somebody who's born into this. This is somebody who's coming into that lifestyle. And it's like, who's responsible for that?
It's a great question. And it's a fascinating video for several reasons. You know, I think that there's a collective responsibility and there's an individual responsibility.
Okay.
Because we live within a culture that, and certainly a social media, a larger culture and a social media culture that equates value with a certain kind of image that you present and how it is you go about telling the narrative of that image that you sell. So she, as you're talking about, she is invested a certain amount in what her presentation is going to be, knowing that within this realm, that presentation is going to equal a certain amount of the social currency, be it likes, views, etc. So from a certain perspective, you could argue that, and this is me leaning into perhaps playing devil's advocate on her behalf for a moment and say, I've made this level of investment into this presentation to earn this social currency that I'm now that she's utilizing and being paid for it is a part of what that investment is supposed to get me.
Right. So I've heard this from people. Yeah, I've heard that argument of like, well, you should always pay for a girl's dinner because.
And now, yes, well, sure, because of what she. Now the I think the other side of it, or the larger dimension of it is, I think really being particular about what it is that we celebrate and why, and where do we place our value and why, because. And as men and women, we have different relationships to how we're seen as valuable. As men, it certainly is like, what can you provide, resource-wise, monetarily, and traditionally, women, it's less of an emphasis on that. It's like, how can you be of if you call it, be of service, be of support, and whatnot. It's not, and the idea I see a lot of is more and more, unfortunately, be it social media or otherwise with men and women, is, well, what can I get from you in one way or the other, and how do I give the least to get the most? Right.
But again, this is somebody who's coming to the internet, first of all, which I think is a mistake, and asking people like, am I wrong here for wanting these things? You know, she's coming to say like...
She's framing it in such a way, and that's a great way. She's framing it. It's actually a great negotiating way. Is this crazy? Is this wild? Because people are more likely instinctively to be like, no. But I think that you have to, from a human standpoint, I'm like, anytime anybody is willing to give or offer of anything, I think that's worthy of grace. Right. And that's worthy of gratitude. Right. And I think we certainly have a culture that overlooks gratitude immensely, and certainly a social media culture that takes a lot of things for granted and doesn't take into account that on the other side of it, these are people. Yeah. And it's more of, well, that's a view, that's a click, that's a somebody, that's a consumer, that's a subscriber. Right. And so you itemize and reduce people's actual value to the point where, someone does out of nowhere offer you, and you have the audacity to look at it as if it's beneath you. Right.
Because again, so this is why I think there's there's several tiers of people who share responsibility. Yeah. There's social media and those interactions that have inflated everyone's egos, because you get these things like everyone's called a follower. And everyone likes, so then you get this idea of like positivity that you're higher than. So there's that problem. Yeah. But then I feel like, and I'm gonna sound a little red pill for right now, but I feel like there are men who the only way they can form a connection and a bond with this person is to offer something like $30, because literally what she says after is, he said, I want to get to know you.
So
as if that's his entry to forming that bond. So it's like, on the one end, she's not delusional, because
absolutely,
that's exactly what his goal was. And she's like, listen, if you're gonna want to get to know me, right, this is my starting bar. And it's like, this is the marketplace of...
this is the... I'm going to tell you this. Like, I think that on the market, it's dangerous, and I get it because we both play into it, because there's absolutely the male side of like, well, I know that if this is what I have that's valuable, it's not my personality, it's not what I like, it's not, hey, I'm interested, it's not anything about me, it's like, hey, here's this that I know you're immediately going to cue in on, that's going to allow perhaps an opportunity to grow from it. And it's dangerous when you, I think, put a price of admission for your value, because then it's, well, does it just take more to sway your value system? Is that all it is?
See, that's
are you auctioning yourself off essentially? And that's, I think, dangerous because, again, we in my belief, we as human beings, we have something that's intrinsically beyond any, that's intrinsically unique beyond value, and certainly beyond a capitalist-minded idea of what our value is, which is what we, so often kind of operate on.
I would make the argument that a girl like that is a barrier to entry for a certain particular person. Yeah. Meaning that if you're what she's attracted to, you don't have to do any of that. Matter of fact, I bet you if you looked at the timeline of her dates, if you went into her skeletons in her closet, she has lots of dudes who couldn't keep up with that. Matter of fact, she was probably the reverse, where she was giving them money. But that's because that's what she's interested in. So the problem is guys who want her and they think that's the fastest way to get to her is to be like, if I can give her money, if I can buy her a drink, if I can take her to an expensive dinner. So she's living with this inflated ego that, to me, is not really inflated, because there are people who are doing that.
And I think, and I would contend that a guy who kind of has all the visual cues that she might look at and be like, this is a good look for me. He's successful. He has the things that are visually attractive, car, clothes, what may have you, would, even if she's attracted to that, thinking that that's going to be a match that's going to give me perhaps the emotional connection that I'm interested in, I think he's recognizing that, wait, women who look like you, I know are attracted to these visual things, and that's what they're into, not necessarily me. So they're ironically, he's not going to be as willing, I think, to give what she actually needs in lieu of, well, I can afford to take you out to $100 dinner or $100 lunch, what have you. And thus, I think there's a deterioration of real, actual relationship and connection in the process of that.
Yeah. I'll say this, I'm not bothered by that. The video stood out to me simply because it was almost as if she was like upset at the goal.
At the goal. I've experienced that.
There's that. But apart from her like attitude about it, I think this brings a broader conversation of like, when it comes to romantic relationships, right? Like, if the pursuit becomes like, hey, I'm interested in this person, like, we have to be honest that what is it that she wants? A woman like that who, and I'm not saying her particular, I'm saying somebody who would subscribe to what she is espousing, like that whole kind of sprinkle attitude of girls who are like, yo, get the bag, if you get a date, if you get this, get that. That attitude, if you're going to pursue that and do that, you have to be open to the idea that you're also going to attract people who are going to see that whole situation as transactional.
Exactly. That's what I'm. Yes.
You know, and if that's okay, if you are okay with
I swiped, so you gotta.
Yes.
you gotta deliver.
If you both are adults and you want the transactional relationship, then it's like no one's gonna. That is what it is. I'm not gonna shame somebody and be like she's a gold digger or she's low value, blah blah. I'm just saying that like, hey, just be clear that if you put yourself out there and that's what you want, you're going to attract that. And for those guys who think that giving money to get a girl like that to pay attention to you, just be prepared that moving forward, you're always going to have to do something like that on the financial tip. There's sometimes people like that come around, they get to know you, the bond is different. But if you keep throwing it front heavy in the top,
it's like when you have a certain amount of money is disposable. It's like, oh, I know I'll get more. That's not a thing.
Right.
And so, if that's what you're here for, it's like, oh, you can be equally disposable.
True. But I also think that, like, the odds of those interactions, like, there are only so few men who could actually keep throwing money around like that. So that pool is very limited. Like, bro, like, to be able to deal with a woman like that, you have to be in a different tax bracket.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There aren't that many people who could just afford to, like, think about all the criteria.
But that's why I know, I get you.
It's a very small pool. It's a very small pool of men that go through a very small pool of women, and they just keep...
Yeah, that's what it is. You keep
incestuously passing each other around.
Rotating them. It's like, no, I've had you... And I know, and that's what I think is it too. If you're looking for something, and maybe she's not. I don't know what she genuinely wants. If it's like, yo, I just want to make as much money from pseudo relationships that I can garner as possible. Like, cool, good luck. I wish you well, genuinely. It's like but know that it's cute when you're 24. I don't know what that looks like at 44.
I'm not even worried about that. That obviously there are people. I think what's important is if that's as long as you're okay with the transactional nature of that relationship or relationships like that moving forward, then that's where I leave that for now. If I keep thinking about it too much and I start becoming a red pill like women are involved,
we play parts. We both play parts.
Right.
We definitely play parts. I'm certainly not one. I don't like to poke fingers. I should say point fingers.
Yeah.
Over here, over there. It's more like, well, there's something to be shared in the respect of it, but. She's a little crazy for that. I was gonna say she's a little crazy.
The conversation can continue in the comments. I'm very interested to see if people have what their takes are on that. So
I'm curious as well.
Yeah. Cool.